right, welcome in collective. You guys are the first group that get to see me with clothes on. It was so hot earlier today that my camera would not function without, I had to take my shirt and create like a little teepee for my computer because it was overheating and the camera was just cutting like after 2 seconds. So finally we are getting a bit of shade. I've got my hat off. Gonna pop my sunnies back on only because well, doesn't really matter why. All right, we are doing a reading for the Gemini new moon. I am reading double blind again, like I did Gemini full moon, like I did last Scorpio new moon. I really found it as an optimal way for me to actually work with some of the collective messages that I was channeling. So like, it was more beneficial for me to do these double blind readings. So let's start and take a look at, it looks like I'll be able to come down. All right, we have got the Hunter. Interesting. This is an interesting card. The Hunter is about deciding what it is that you want and going towards it. What's interesting is that it's asking you to go towards what you want, even in the face of sort of this blowback, right? It's also saying that as we move towards what we want, we'll have more and more ideas of exactly what it is that we do want. So moving towards something will allow the fuller picture to come in. So sometimes when we get a new spark of inspiration, for example, I'm starting to work with like acrylics and woods. I don't really know what the hell I'm doing, and I'm not able to do like the big size project that I want to do, which is to make a bookshelf. So I've got to come up with smaller little projects that I can use to move myself towards my goal. So the bigger picture comes into greater focus as we take steps towards that vision. We've got the bridge. The bridge came up in our new moon readings, and the bridge is about Metatron, and it's about what stands at the face of our pulling things from 3D from 5D into 3D. And what's interesting is that can be either conscious or unconscious, right? The bridge exists whether we're aware of it or not. And we have the vow. The vow is about a solemn declaration. What does solemn mean? Like, does that mean solo? A vow is usually something that we make towards another person. But we can only make something towards another person if we can make it towards ourselves first. All right, let's take a look at a shadow card here for this collective, this unknown collective that I am reading for, based on their astrological sign. Ooh. This is the one. Anger. All right. Well, we do see a lot of this sort of Very fiery energy here with the Hunter. So the shadow aspect that we're working through is anger. It says restoring boundaries and reclaiming balance. And we have the Chariot card here. The Hunter, the Chariot. Oh my goodness. All of this very active energy. The Chariot is all right with setting themselves apart from other people. They're all right with what is their how they're different. They're okay in their own differences. So they're able to be themselves in any sort of situation. And when we're able to be authentically ourselves, then anger doesn't normally come up, right? Anger comes up when we are being blocked from something that we desire, or something happens to us that's against our will for our greatest and highest calling, or our... However, we have to realize that both ourselves and spirit create the situations in our lives that for us to be able to learn from. We have some level of community conflict here, right? We've got the 3 of Cups and the 7 of Wands. So that can mean community conflict. The 3 of Cups can also mean third-party situations. And we've got the 9 of Pentacles, which is largely a card of independence. Very, both being independently desirable based on knowing your own self-worth, but also having manifested what it is that you desire because you have this vow to remain this person that you most desire to be. This is the 3 of Cups is a community card. Like I'm getting 2 different messages here. One of them is like, you know, seeking out third-party situations, seeking out new, but there's no real romance cards here. Hunting for the experiences that you want in life are causing some level of conflict with your ability to be able to act independently, with the vow here and this 9 of Pentacles cards. And so obviously when other people hold us back, it can create conflict within ourselves, right? That can bring up anger because we're no longer independent, right? Anytime we are working with other people or doing anything outside of ourselves, which is, we live in an interdependent world, independence is largely a falsehood. Like, there is a spectrum, right? And sure, there are aesthetics who go off and live in the woods by themselves and never talk to anybody in society ever again. And, you know, those people are largely independent. They make their own choices, and they're always making their own choices because they are essentially just by themselves. But and that might be the path for you, right? But those people are often very crazy. Like, the reason that they're by themselves is because they can't be around other people, because they haven't integrated and processed how to set themselves apart. Like, a chariot is a very difficult vehicle to drive, and with the horses would often not pull in the same direction, which is you see on the traditional Rider Waite, and that causes the charioteer to crash. Being pulled in more than one direction can cause us to not be able to set ourselves apart, because we can't control the light and the dark. We can't control the godly and the shadow. They wanted to come out together, so we'll read this one first. It says reclaim your energy. So yeah, I do get this idea here of, you know, this vow of independence, this vow of personal stability, and independence does allow us to reclaim our energy, which then can allow us to move back into this sort of community situation. Which I feel for some people that I'm reading for, this is like a business situation, right? Like we're like struggling to work with other people. For other people, I think it is about like whether I'm gonna go on a solo trip by myself, or how do I move towards the thing that I want to move towards without it causing conflict? And the conflict here is in between other people and ourselves. And the anger that comes up from not being able to, I'm just reiterating the same things that I've already said, not being able to always make choices in our own best interests. Mind you, when we're by ourselves, sometimes we don't make decisions that are in our own best interest. There's a greater chance because there's this less likelihood of this external influence. But we can still make the wrong decisions for ourselves when we are by ourselves, right? If we haven't gone through a healing process here of healing this anger and understanding who we are as a person, because we can only be that charioteer that chariots themselves when we understand our shadow and our light, when we understand what does trigger us. We've got our energy is our responsibility, and how we give it away becomes a conscious choice as we step into empowerment. And yes, it is possible to restore the fragments of self we gave away before we came to this awareness. You have the power to own your energy and choose where you direct it. If you are not at your optimal vibration, consider the core of why this may be. Detach from depleting influences and boost your productivity. We also have this other card, which is Beyond Mind. It says, the mind moves us through the logics of life so we can function in the world. However, endless mental chatter, self-doubt, limiting stories, and subconscious programs can keep us in our suffering. Those are often drawn from the people around us. Step outside mind-based limitations. Looking at things in an overly logical way will hinder you and obstruct access to your superpowers. The past may be running you and making your mind spin so you cannot see what is really in front of you. Okay, so what sign am I reading for? I am reading for Aquarius. All right, Aquarius, you are very much dealing with this pull between others and self, and really learning about what it means to be alone and to be yourself, coming into this sense of self. And as we become comfortable in our own awareness of self and making those decisions for self, then we'll be able to move back into this, work with community and work on moving us more towards our goals. But right now, it looks like with the anger card here that the Chariot is self-destructing, and you're very much not able to set yourself apart and become the fullest version of yourself. So reclaim your energy and tease apart what it is that you can give yourself and what it is that you need from other people. And when you go back to merge with other people, you have to merge from a place of understanding what it is that they're willing and able to give to you. So not having expectations that are greater than what can be provided for. So it's really about making this vow to yourself. It's really hard. Aquarius is the opposite sign of my sun sign, right? And it can be hard to not have expectations of other people. Like, I very much have I expect a lot of the same things as other people that I do myself. And that's such a way, I learned. It probably took me till I was about 27, 28 to realize that that's just completely unrealistic. Like, what I'm able to give and what other people are able to give are completely different. What I'm able to receive and what other people are able to receive are completely different. And so assuming that other people are going to meet our expectations in the way that we would have met them is not a great place to start from with regards to these community situations. So work through the anger over this full moon. Come back into your sense of self. Make that vow to self to come back to self. And through that, you'll have the portal in order for you to operate in unison with others. All right, thanks Aquarius for being here, and we will see you again in 2 weeks on the new moon, 18th, 19th. Moving on to our next sign. I am outside enjoying myself. I'm doing double blind readings again, just like I did for the Scorpio new moon. And I really enjoyed reading that way. I found that I actually got a lot more out of the readings myself. So I think it's really important when I'm doing these readings, because I originally did them to help the collective as I was moving through my own inner work. And then it very much did become for a while just about me reading for the collective, and I wasn't actually I was getting a lot out of doing the readings, as I'm doing this, It really gets me out of my own headspace and allows me, you know, channeling and communing with the divine is such a gift. So, but at the same time, I wasn't using the readings as a tool myself. And so that's what I am seeking to change. And doing the double blind readings did open up something for me where I actually listened to my readings a lot more than I previously had. All right, for this new unknown collective, I won't know until the end of the reading. We have the Judge. The Judge is an interesting card, right? Because I've spent a lot of time thinking about judgment. This card is really just saying, to me at this point in time, I was going to go into a diatribe about my intellectual thoughts on whether judgment and the justice system is needed, but that's really not where this is headed. This is just about discerning what it is that you want to accept and what you won't accept, right? With the open hand here and the closed go away stop sign here. We have Alethea. Alethea. Lots of these black and whites here, right? We've got this sort of square composition here with black and white. We've got the same black and white composition here. I've actually never drawn this card before. So I am going to take a quick peek into the guidebook as an opportunity for me to learn something new. It says truth. It's the Greek word for truth. Clarity, reflection, disclosure, when in the dark, distortions, gaslighting, excuses. Our soul recognizes the truth when someone speaks it. A cool wave of relief washes over the room, and the facts and figures in the world fall by the wayside. Such is the power of Alethea. It has an undeniable resonance that goes beyond the rational. We can recognize truth by its contagiousness. When we hear someone speak the truth, we see the truth within ourselves and are more likely to tell our own story. This card requires us to step toward an act of truth. This might look like a conversation, a gesture, a poetic act, or a ritual that honors the unveiling of what's being concealed. Picasso said, we all know that art is not truth. Art is a lie that makes us realize truth, at least the truth that is given to us to understand. Interesting. Okay. And the next card that we have is the Self. So this collective is learning to judge what is their truths and what are other people's truths, and to discern some level of objectivity in the multitude and the spectrum of what is given, to see a more whole, multi-dimensional truth, right? Universal truths are transcendental truths, which means they transcend the collective of subjective truths. But there is still an aspect here of knowing what our own truth is with this Self card here. Okay, let's get a look at a shadow cards. Those ones seemed to dash out, and I was like, oh, is that the card? But then it wasn't. So this one right here is resistance. Okay. So there is some level of resistance to both our own truth and others' truths, right? It says obstacles to your flow. So the obstacle and the resistance here is accepting the truth. We've got the Nine of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords. The Nine of Pentacles is a very independent person. It's the self-made card. And the Queen of Swords is about clarity. So with this coming up relative to resistance, it's saying to me that the challenge here in the shadow is, like, I don't have to acknowledge other people's truths if I don't acknowledge them, right? Like, I can walk away from other people and disconnect from them and therefore no longer have to look at their truth. But that's not real truth, right? That's resistance to the truth by taking an action away from it. Because the Queen of Swords likes to cut things out to get to clarity. But cutting out that multi-dimensional perspective doesn't really get us to greater truth. You know, it leads to this situation with this Queen of Swords here, how she's got the swan's mouth tied down. It's like, I'm not going to speak this truth. I'm not going to allow others to speak this truth. I'm not going to... But all the while, there is an inner knowing. We've got... Oh, let's just see if all of these turn up upside down. Yeah. Okay, so this way. Alright. We have got... Under the Judge, we have got the Two of Pentacles, which is a card of partnerships. It's a card of unions. It's a card of being connected to our higher self. So when we're cut off from others, we also cut ourselves off from our own highest truth. I need to pop up here to get a more perspective. Okay, we've got the Two of Cups, the Four of Cups, and the King of Swords. Gluttony, logic. This Four of Cups card is a card, like, of being disinterested but having it all. So it's a really interesting card because I guess in the traditional Raider way, there's 4 cups there, and there's the cup of God. God's handing this person the opportunity to fill their cup, and they're rejecting it. Here you see all of these women tending to this man's needs, and he's still disinterested in the whole damn thing. The King of Swords is a very calculating person. They use logic, but they can use that logic in a way that is essentially serving the self rather than serving others. And in order to be able to come into partnership, one has to be able to understand how to serve other people as well. Like, serving of self, continuous service to self in excess is a disservice to others. Yet we all have to live our own truth. If we move towards partnership, with the truth of it being out of some greedy, selfish desire, then there's resistance to our own truth, because what we're doing is we're denying the other person their requirements. And yet, if we give up who we are, then we still can't reach this partnership, because we're always dissatisfied with what we have, because what we have is not the truth of what it is that we desire. This is a really complicated reading here, but I think I did the best job conveying the challenge and the resistance here, and definitely the case, like this, the obstacle that's going on here with this level of independence. Like, the King of Pentacles requires other people to run the kingdom. The King of Pentacles is involved with others. I can't help but feel like there is some level of selfishness that's being worked through here, only because, like, this King of Swords has got this, the sword of truth is pointed down, and the sword of truth is normally pointed up when somebody is acting in a congruent fashion. All right, let's pull a oracle card here to see if we can grab, how many do we have? 2. Grab some more messages to help this collective through what it is that they're, the challenges here. We've got the third eye chakra perspective. Connect with your third eye and transcend what you understand with your mind. Discover a deeper inner knowing through the interconnected web of all this, of all that is and has been. You can tune into this wisdom at will, as and when you wish to do so. The wisdom is ancient yet pioneering. It is the creator of the free will we choose to weave from moment to moment. This is this pyramid card. And we also have this mermaid card. It says evolution. Consider what evolution means to you. Is your evolution about growth, expansion, adaptation, success, or becoming a better version of yourself? Look for ways to flourish in the face of challenge. Break a problem down into its elements, be creative, and consider how you can make it more fun and inspiring. Alternatively, ask how you can learn, grow, and become stronger through what is happening for you. Okay, I'm going to leave that message here. We are reading for Sagittarius. All right, Sag, I hope that you found something valuable in this reading. And I will see you again at the full moon readings, December 18th, 19th. All right, we've got one more sign to read from. And have a sip of water. And then I need myself a little break. Okay. If you're just tuning in, I am doing double blind readings again this month. I found them really beneficial last month. Originally, I just set out to be a bit cheeky, but then it turns out that it really assisted me in my own using my own readings as my own tool rather than it just being something that I put out there for other people. So, yeehaw! I am very much feeling guided that this is going to be our oracle card. Let's take a look at what we've pulled. We have got Apocalypsis. Big change here, right? This is like big energy of transformation. Think about like a war against all that you consider unjust. Got the guidebook here, so I might read from the guidebook as well, or just not a lot, but removing the veil of deception. Apocalypsis indicates a particularly painful time, one that unfolds when two desperate dynamics occur simultaneously, pulling the psyche in seemingly opposite directions. When light, the unknown becomes known and guides the way. When in dark, nihilism, fatalism, and hopelessness. Right, and you know, I really got that sort of like war, like sort of feeling in my mind about what is going on here. We've got the flame. The flame, it represents the it's the Ace of Wands card. It's the ability to transform, the possibility of transformation, the power of transformation as one of the three ways that energy moves in the universe. And we've got the village. So the village is what allows us to expand. We really have all energies here. This is such an interesting reading, right? Because Apocalypsis, when there's two diverse warring factions, is destruction. We've got destruction, transformation, and building, because the village represents the sustaining energy. So we have got all three energies out here for this collective. We have got the Three of Swords, the Knight of Swords, and the Empress. The Three of Swords is, again, with these sort of warring energies. Three of Swords is heartbreak and betrayal. So what I'm getting here is that this collective is having a hard time integrating beyond two perspectives something about betrayal. And obviously having difficulties logically transmuting that here with the flame. And the result is some level of continued overindulgence with this Empress card. I do not see this as a very positive, like, my take on this Empress is not particularly positive. You know, to me she looks a bit like some sort of gremlin or troll or something, and she's fat and maybe abundant and pregnant, but I think overly indulgent maybe. Let's take a look at the shadow aspect for this collective. What aspect of shadow they are working through. We've got shadow song. Hear your soul song. Whoa. This is a super deep reading for whoever I'm reading for. And it's the Gemini full moon, and I think I've already read for Gemini, so I don't know who this is, what collective I'm reading for, but it's like we've got all of the energies here at play, and not in the most positive way, right? Like heartbreak and betrayal as being the dueling sides, right? So war is such a horrible thing for us to continue as a human species to continue to allow. I don't feel like war really solves anything, and yet we can't seem to rectify two conflicting sides of an argument, two different ways of going about things, two different belief systems. We seem unable to transcend and integrate multiple perspectives. And what I'm getting very much with this Empress in this village is like a very consumerist, a very like hypersexualized, like a really not such a great energy there. It says music is transformative. It can take you through and beyond present states of heart and mind and connect you with memories, feelings, hopes, and dreams. The music you play when you're sad or despondent provides a pathway for your shadow to work with your consciousness to help you find balance and healing. Listen to the soundtrack of your life. Inspired insights, reflections, and actions. When a song moves you to tears, your shadow may be helping you find balance. Journaling work. Write down 3 movies or songs that bring you to tears and connect with your heart. Then write down or draw the sensations, emotions, and messages you take from them. Okay, so the work and opportunity here with this full moon has to do with healing all parts of the 3 primary forces, which is creation, sustaining, and destruction. Home. Our way home to oneness and the truest part of our infinite selves is to know ourselves beyond the socialized matrix of mind and constructed reality. When all sense of flighty survival drops away, a deep sigh radiates from the safe space within, where you can ground dreams into realities. Deep heart-based presence is a direct portal home. align with your temple space. Okay, I might read a bit more about this card. So this energetic work and opportunity for this collective is definitely about doing some cleansing of the old in order to align us back with our truest sense of selves, and yeah, to draw us back into our heart center so that we can get back on with this shadow song. Hear your soul song, soul song, soul tie, soul path, to get us back onto our path that we may have wandered off of. So I don't yet know who this collective is, but you're going to want to consider where Gemini is, which house it is in for you. And I'm just going to, and consider that is the work that you ought to be doing, working through some of those shadow issues for that house. We've got the Five of Pentacles. Being left out, abandonment wounds. Like, this is betrayal and abandonment wounds. That's all that we're seeing here. We see the devil here in, with this Knight of Swords and this flame. So working towards being able to transcend, like when we're hurt, not hurting others. And even when we have conflicts with other people, to being able to resolve them in a positive way rather than taking to war. And we've got the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is about continuing to nurture what it is that you want to grow. It can be about skills, but this Eight of Pentacles here with the flowers, when we nurture skills, what does it say? We like nurture a habit and grow a skill or something like that. So alright, I'm going to take a look. I'm going to draw one more card for this collective, blind, and then I'm going to have a look and read and see if there's anything else I can add to this. Because, I mean, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on. Journey to wholeness. Love from a sense of wholeness. We may have concepts of others that are not really who they are due to subconscious projections or ideals. We could have the idea that we will feel better about ourselves when we achieve a goal or status. This takes us out of the present and puts conditions on love. Hold the vision that you and others are already perfect. Thus, we can heal through the transformative power of acceptance, acknowledge the full spectrum, and bring any fractured parts back to the present moment, which is really what I was saying. We are reading for Capricorn collective here. So Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn. The 9th house. Yeah, okay, well, the 9th house is about wisdom and metaphysical knowledge. So I do see that here for this collective with like all of these, like this is a deep cleansing of all of the major systems of transformation. Like, why do we change? Why do we initiate change when we initiate change? Is it change for the good, change for the better? Why do we sustain something when we sustain it? Is it out of fear? Is it out of love? Why do we get rid of something when push something away? Is it out of fear? Is it out of our own ability to change? Is it out of love? Like, looking at all of these things in how the system as a whole evolves, and working through our own, like, we don't like when we're betrayed and left out, yet there's some level here of like logical retaliation, and like the gluttony of that's grown, and how that's actually even manifested with this village card in society, and the way that we stand our society up, and the things that we go for, like buying, or like over consuming things, and imperialism. And there's a lot going on here that our Capricorns have the ability to work through for the collective. If they spend the Gemini full moon, doing the work. So, and the work is simple. Just understanding paying attention to those songs and those movies and those things that hit you in your heart space, and allowing yourself to be one with that and to acknowledge that. All right, Capricorn, I hope you enjoyed your reading, and I will see you guys again on the 18th or 19th of December for our new moon reading.